Welcome back to more Sip2Tally. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to take a look at the number 17 team on our more Sip2Tally power rankings. It is the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Now, all these little quirky sayings that I have come from when Chris Berman and TJ were at what I think the height of ESPN when it was good. When I was growing up, ESPN is kind of falling off the map a little bit when it comes to their football coverage. But this was before the NFL Network and all these different other outlets we had. But that's where all these little sayings like the Raiders and stuff like that I had. That's where it came from, if you were wondering, especially to my young viewers, because they missed the good times when ESPN was really good. But let's get into the Buffalo Bills and why I have them ranked where I have them ranked at. Starting with their quarterback room. Now, their quarterback room is ranked third, and it's mainly on the strength of Josh Allen. He took all the snaps for the Bills last year. Played in all 17 games, 385 out of 579. Completion percentage of 66.5. He threw for 4,006 yards. He had 29 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Had a quarterback rating of 92.2 and a QBR of 88.6, which is damn good. Like when they switched from the air it out to let's run it more, the Bills took off. And I know it hurt Stephon Diggs and like what he wanted to be as far as part of the offense, but it really elevated somebody else in the offense, another part of the offense, and they took off and they were pretty darn good when they changed OCs and did their thing. But also in that quarterback room, they brought in Mitch Trubisky from the Steelers. He played in 5 games, threw for 632 yards with 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And Shane Buechele, he didn't play at all last year because like I previously stated, Josh Allen took all the snaps. All right, let's talk about the running back room. I have their running back room ranked number 15. James Cook is the leader in that running back room. When the scheme changed last year, he was the one that benefited the most from it. He played in all 17 games. I had 237 attempts for 1,122 yards. I only had 2 TDs, but the yardage, he ate up yardage, and then Josh Allen was, he was around the goal line, and they did a bunch of different things around the goal line also. But also catching the ball out the backfield. 44 catches, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns also. So James Cook benefited from the OC changed, and the team benefited from it also. Also in that backfield is Ty Johnson. Played in 10 games, had 132 rushing yards, no touchdowns, and they drafted Ray Davis, the running back from Kentucky, to round out the running back room also. But I have their running back room ranked 15 out of 32. All right, let's talk about their receiver room. I have their receiver room ranked 22nd. Now, their receiver room is a patchwork of players. They lost their 2 main guys last year. They lost Gabe Davis. They lost Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is, I forget what Gabe is, but Stephon is in Houston. In this room now, the most experienced person, Khalil Shakir. Last year he had 30 catches for 612 yards, 2 TDs. Also in this room, Curtis Samuel, they brought in from the Commanders. He had 62 catches, 613 yards, and 4 TDs. They brought in MVS from the Chiefs. He had 21 catches, 315 yards, 1 TD, but he prone to drops, which is his 50% catch rate. But he had a big catch in the playoffs, though. He caught the ball in the playoffs. They also brought in Chase Claypool, who played for the Dolphins and the Bears. He only had 77 receiving yards. But they drafted Keon Coleman, one of, the most polarizing guys in the draft. You either loved him or hate him, depending on, your opinion about his film. I think he's going to be, he's going to be their number 1. Probably not starting off the gate, but by the time we hit the cold season, he's going to be the number 1 receiver because he has all the tools to be that. Now, a lot of people said, during the draft process, he couldn't get open. I beg to differ. I was one of the few people that was standing on the table for Keon Coleman because I felt like he got open. He just had some shitty QB play. But that's me. You go back and look at it for yourself. Also rounding out this wide receiver room is Mac Hollins, who played for Atlanta last year. He had 15 catches, 251 yards. So I had their their wide receiver room ranked 22nd because this is just a patchwork room of a bunch of different guys, and they got to wait. Curtis Samuel's okay. They trying to patch holes. Well, they lost their main guys. And I see, and you can't have the best room in every situation. And I understand what they're trying to do. They lost a lot of production in that spot, and you can't replace it all at one time. So they got some veterans, they got a rookie, and so they're probably going to replace some of these veterans next year with some younger guys. So they got the potential there because Curtis Samuel don't suck. Keon Coleman don't suck. And then Josh Allen can make a bunch of different plays. So if you can just get open in scramble drill or beat people deep, Josh Allen gonna get you the ball. He's the number 3, quarterback room for a reason. All right, let's go to the tight end play, which is really gonna help them out too because they got some good tight ends. Speaking of, I have their tight end room ranked 12. Tight end room is ranked 12. We have Dalton Kincaid, 73 catches, 673 yards, 2 TDs. Also in that room, Dawson Knox, who's been there for a minute, 22 catches, 168 yards, 2 TDs, and also Quentin Morris. So all 3 of their tight ends returned. Quentin had only 2 catches for 26 yards and a TD. And I have that tight end room ranked 12. 12. Not 20-something, 12. And that 20-something was foreshadowing because it's their O-line. I have their O-line room ranked 24th. As far as their PFF grades for the O-line, Deion Dawkins 74.2. David Edwards a 90.2. He's the leader in this group right here. Connor McGovern 55.4. Osiris Torrance 54.9. And Spencer Brown 70.1. Now, what I do know about their O-line, I knew Osiris struggled a little bit. And the reason being is because I thought the Ravens were going to play them in the playoffs. And I did a little research on it, and I just know Osiris was the guy I felt like they could take advantage of. And so the PFF grade shows what the film study for myself showed itself. But I have their O-line room ranked 24th. Now, interesting little storyline right here. When the Bills play the Jets, it's going to be funny. And if you don't know, go look up some of the stuff Deion Dawkins had to say about the Jets. So I'm going to give you some research to go on your own. Go look up some of the stuff Deion Dawkins had to say about the Jets, and then some of the back and forth between Deion Dawkins and Sauce and some of the Jets players. So go check that out for yourself. But the Bills O-line I have ranked 24th. Let's go to the dark side, other side. All right, Bills running the 3-4 defense. Let's start with the defensive ends and then work to the interior guys on that front. So Gregory Rousseau from the Miami University of Miami, the U. Y'all know it's my favorite college team. Other than the one I attended. 16 games, 4 passes defended from a defensive end, 5 sacks, 40 combined tackles, 12 TFLs, 18 QB hits. The other end, A.J. Epenesa, 15 games. I know y'all thought I was going to say Von Miller, but I didn't. A.J. Epenesa, 15 games. A.J. Epenesa also had 2 interceptions. He had 6.5 sacks, 20 total tackles, 10 QB hits. Now, Von Miller will play a role in this, but Von Miller, I think, is regulated to just a third down specialist at this point in his career. He's oft injured, so that's why I didn't put him in the top group that I mentioned right here, even though I'm mentioning him now. But Von Miller, to me, is just a third down, go rush the quarterback guy, and so that's why I didn't mention him in the stats, but he is factored into the ranking. All right. An interior, Ed Oliver. 16 games last year. Ed Oliver also had an interception and 3 passes defended from the one-tech position. He had 9.5 sacks and 51 tackles, 16 QB hits, and 14 TFLs. Ed Oliver is the dog on the front. You could argue Rousseau, but I think Ed Oliver is the guy as far as this front 4 up here. And you also have DeQuan Jones rounding out this front 4. Linebackers. The Bills used to have top 5 linebacker crew. Oh, I didn't give you I did. Their defensive line edge group I have at 23. A defensive line edge group I have at 23. Because we don't know what Epenesa is going to give you. And especially with that rotation with him and Von Miller, we don't know how that's going to work. Greg Rousseau is 5 sacks. It is what it is. Ed Oliver's the guy. He going to make all of it go. You double Ed Oliver, then these other guys get a chance to eat. But if you can block Ed Oliver one-on-one, the rest of them are going to be null and void. That's the key. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you like that. If you got somebody in the middle that can block Ed Oliver 1v1, the rest of these guys are going to be pretty much null and void. But if you got a double Ed Oliver, they can get off 1v1s and do their thing. But that's the nuts and bolts of the Bills front line right there. Ed Oliver is the key. And again, I have it ranked 23. All right, now let's go to linebacker. Now let's go back talking about that linebacker. With Milano and his running mate from a couple years ago, Edmonds, they used to have a top 5 linebacker crew. Edmonds has since been gone. Milano got hurt last year. They're not that same tier of linebackers, but I do give Milano benefit of the doubt. Even though he was hurt last year, I have them ranked 18. I could have easily dropped them way down, but I didn't because of my respect and admiration for how Matt Milano plays the game. But we're going to start with Terrell Bernard in that room. He played all 17 games last year, had 143 tackles, 10 TFLs, had 6.5 sacks, 5 passes defended, and he also had 3 interceptions. But also, Matt Milano. Milano only played in 5 games. Had 2 interceptions, 30 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 QB hit. But, you know, like I said in the beginning of this countdown, I give credence to what you've done in the past and what I expect you to do in the future. So predicting what Milano is going to come back and do this year healthy, that's kind of why I have them where they're at. I could have dropped them way down based off what Milano did last year because he was hurt, and then the backups, and then the guys that are gone. But I know what Matt Milano is, and I think he's going to come back and just be himself again. He's that type of guy. I respect him, his play, and his, you know, what he is as an NFL player just that much. And so I have that room at number 18. All right, let's go to their cornerbacks. Now, this is a part of their game, a part of that team that I really think is going to be good. They got Rasul Douglas, Christian Benford, and Taron Johnson. So let's start with Rasul Douglas. They traded for him, and they kind of took off. Like, their defense really, when they changed those C's, their offensive philosophy and their defense just kind of took off in that second half of the season. But Rasul Douglas had 29 tackles, 4 interceptions. He played 9 games and really just kind of solidified that secondary. Christian Benford, who started when he wasn't supposed to start when he first got there, and then just built upon it, got more confidence and played better. Some guys left or got demoted or whatever the case may be, but now he's a starter too. He played in 15 games last year. He had 2 interceptions, had 54 tackles, 10 PDs, PBUs, however you want to say it. But the third guy in this group, Taron Johnson, who's the mainstay. Like, other than the safeties that they used to have, Taron Johnson was another guy that was always making big plays. He played in all 17 games, had 96 tackles, had 8 PBUs, didn't have any interceptions, but always in on making plays. And so for their cornerback room, I have ranked 3rd. When you put all 3 of these guys together and what they're going to do as a whole, I have this group ranked 3rd. Some may like it, some may not, but I'm looking at past production, what they did together once they all got together last year, and what I think they'll be moving forward. 3rd. All right. Let's go to their safety room. They lost what used to be one of the top safety groups in the NFL. I'll go ahead and say it. They used to have Poyer and I forget the other guy's name, but they had one of the top safety groups in the NFL. They don't anymore. Their safety group I have ranked 27. Dropped all the way down from top 5 to 27. They have Taylor Rapp in this group now. They got Mike Edwards from the Chiefs. Taylor Rapp last year played in 16 games, had 50 tackles, had a half a sack, had 1 interception. And then Mike Edwards with the Chiefs, he played in 17 games, had 1 interception, which he had a fumble recovery that was returned for a touchdown. He had 51 tackles, 2 QB hits, and they're okay on the back end. Their front 7 may help them on the back end, or them cornerbacks probably gonna help them because them cornerbacks so darn good. But they just average. And so for that, their safety room I have ranked 27. So their cornerbacks and their linebacker play gonna have to help them safeties out. And Taylor Rapp has always been like a 3rd safety. Even when he was with the Rams, he was the 3rd safety. And Taylor Rapp's an okay player. Mike Evans not bad either, but they just together there's 2 average players back there. So that's what we got. So let's take a look at all of the numbers and see what we have so we can average them out and let you know what they got. So starting with the quarterback play. The quarterback room I have ranked 3rd, running back room 15, wide receivers 22nd, tight end 12th, O-line 24, defensive line edge 23, linebacker 18, cornerback 3rd, safety 27. So they have 2 top 3 units on this team. 2 top 3 units on this team. Quarterback at 3, cornerback at 3. You add them all together, average them out. It's 16.33333, and that makes them the number 17 team on the More Sip2Tally Power Rankings. Let's take a look at their draftees and see where they fit in this team. So starting off with Keon Coleman, who's their 2nd round pick. They didn't have a 1st round pick. Probably gonna start, gonna start at receiver. Probably gonna get a boatload of targets too, to the opportunity to see if he can be the guy. Cole Bishop, a safety who can get in that rotation, because I just mentioned how their safeties are average. So he may can get in that rotation. Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle, who can also get into that mix, especially rotating with Daquan Jones. Ray Davis, the running back. Probably going to start off as that third running back, but definitely can be their short yardage guy. He's a thicker running back, a hard-nosed runner that can get in there and get those short yardage runs, especially in red zone and goal line situation. Cedric Van Prawn maybe can work in that interior, maybe not. Depends on, because all 5 of their guys are back on the O-line. So maybe he can break that. I doubt it, but we'll see. Linebacker, it's tough to pronounce this name. Edufan Udafoshu. I know I destroyed that, sorry, but I don't think he can get in there, especially if Milano's healthy and doing his thing. My personal favorite, Javon Solomon from Troy and where I work at. Hopefully he gets in that rotation at defensive end. I hope. He led the nation in sacks. Excited to see if he can get some PT and shine and put a light on our school. Tyron Grable, offensive line from Central Florida. Don't know if he'll get in the mix, but maybe, it's a backup piece. Daquan Hardy, cornerback from Penn State. He's not gonna break that 3-man rotation unless somebody get hurt. And then Travis Clayton, the offensive lineman, and they don't have a school beside that. So those are the draftees from the Buffalo Bills. I have them as the number 17 team on the More Sip2Tally Power Rankings. And I appreciate you guys for coming out, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And I'll see y'all on the next one, man. I appreciate it. Let me know if they're too high, too low. And peace and love.